Memory. It's the key to our identity.
Without memory, we are nothing.
It's who we are.
Memory hackers. Right now.
The family is the basic unit of society. The family, of course, is a product of marriage, of a man and a woman. The primary purpose of marriage is to have children and bring them up for God. Their children's salvation should be the parents' chief care. Scripture tells us that it is better to die without children than to leave ungodly children. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different and provide a collection of some parenting advice. Some of these things are things that my wife and I did, and there are some things here that we wish we had done better. First, don't lie to your kids. For instance, don't tell them that there's a Santa Claus that climbs down chimneys. If you do, you run the risk that some kid on the playground will tell your child that there is no Santa Claus, and one of your child's first memories will be realizing that you had been lying to him all along. Speaking of Christmas, try to stress its religious aspects and de-emphasize the commercialism of the feast. Keep the presents to a minimum. Kids will inevitably plead with you to buy expensive toys, but they really don't need them. More times than not, they'll enjoy playing with the box more than they do with the toy. So it's important not to overindulge your kids. They don't need new and expensive clothes. Second-hand clothes or hand-me-downs are usually good enough. Don't run errands while your child is taking a nap. Someone should always be around the house for an emergency. Don't overfeed your children. Snacks with junk food are not good things. Don't buy soda pop. Most cases of childhood obesity are caused by overindulging parents. Don't use television as a babysitter. When my kids were little, there used to be some educational television, but I don't even know whether it exists anymore. However, if you do allow television, once it's on, your kids will probably try to change the channel. Outside of possible educational television, it should be limited to just family movie night. Keep your children active. Shoot 'em up video games are not good things. Encourage your kids to play outside. Exercise is important. Pope Pius XI said, "It must be borne in mind that the obligation of the family to bring up children includes not only religious and moral education, but physical and civic education as well, principally insofar as it touches upon religion and morality." But even better yet, encourage your kids to read books. If there is one thing you want to indulge your kids with, it's buying them books. Encourage your kids to ask questions. Sometimes parents get frustrated when their kids are constantly asking, why? But always give your best effort to answer those questions. Unless you live on a farm, don't buy your kids pets. Those pets will end up making more chores for the parents and really are nothing but attachments in the end. Monitor your kids' internet use. Don't give your kid a smartphone. It will only give them complete unmonitored internet access. An old-fashioned flip phone is just fine. When kids are young, they need to be taught responsibility and given regular chores. When they become teenagers, they need to get part-time jobs. It's okay if the jobs are mind-numbing and boring, because if they have such a job, when they grow up, they'll know the difference between a good job and a bad job, and they'll learn to appreciate good jobs. Discipline is important, and it must be consistent. Kids are smart enough to exploit inconsistency. However, discipline should not be severe, and it should never be done in the heat of the moment. There are lines parents should never cross. Parental abuse is worse than lax discipline. Pope Pius XI said, "Disorderly inclinations must be corrected, but good tendencies must be encouraged and regulated from tender childhood. And above all, the mind must be enlightened and the will strengthened by supernatural truth and the means of grace, without which it is impossible to control evil impulses." God created the family long before the state came into existence. He gave the authority to educate children to their parents. If you are able to homeschool your children, you should strongly consider doing so. It will bring your family together and strengthen its bonds in ways that you might not even imagine. Don't argue with your spouse in front of your children. I know it's possible. I never once heard my parents argue. Try not to discuss family finances in front of your children. However, if they ask you to buy something that is expensive and unnecessary, it is okay to tell them that the family can't afford it. When they hear that things are too expensive enough times, they start to understand the relative value of goods. Not every child needs to or even should go to college. Some kids are better off and will be more prosperous if they learn a trade. For kids who do go to college, community college is fine for the first 2 years. There is absolutely no need for parents to ever pay the cost of joining a sorority or fraternity. As most viewers of this video probably know, it's important for a family to pray the rosary together. And perhaps most importantly, do not thwart God's design by artificially limiting the size of your family. Pope Leo XIII wrote, "Those who would tear civilization away from Christian discipline seek to corrupt the family, which is the cradle of civil life. Parents have not only the right of training their children, but the superadded obligation of shaping and directing the education of their little ones for God's purposes." Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back again within a week with another one. But in the meantime, please check out my Facebook page and my Twitter page. Every day I post additional content that you won't find on this YouTube channel. And also, please pray for the church.
Yeah, you know you're grown, honey, and this is your life. You don't have to take my advice.